They buy us. Our lives are for sale. We bias corporations through advertisement prevail, while silence is the common sense we need to succeed. Motivation to destroy humanity through their greed. What we really need is a shared goal, not some assholes in suits looking at a bottom line, manipulating our souls for financial pursuits. They keep us on the brink while the decline is in check. Intellectual degeneration and siphoning our self-respect. More than money, control is the term they want to preserve. Keep us buying and believing we should have more than we deserve. Reservations keep us unnerved while we're broken and battered at jobs that keep us in line, doing work that doesn't really matter. See their pockets get fatter as our individual value gets flatter. Intellect is discarded, our greatest strength left in tatters. In a pile of dust, the corporate machine has shown its rust, while the people who lead us to our destruction demand our trust.
There's very little trust in these simple times. There's very little trust in these simple times. Very little trust in these simple times. There's very little trust in these simple. Trust me.
They lie to us, the people we elect to lead. Politicians who embody the worst traits of humanity. Their greed as they sell their people out to the top bidding company behind closed doors, thinking we're blind, we'll never see. This is something we can't ignore, so we vote in no matter who we vote for. It's the same broken democracy, a lack of representation from those in charge, cause we're too trusting. But we can't let them make plans that only benefit the rich. There's too many poor people in this country to go along with all of this shit. In the land of the free, in the home of the brave, we're the land of the slaves, making minimum wage, watching our children die when they could have been safe, claiming they fight for life but only after a rape. They should be defied, but we can't find a way when our senators prefer we stay locked in a cage, and they shovel a shit lying right to our face while we eat it all up with no sense of disgrace. Amplifying our differences so we can never stand up as one. Spewing hatred drawn on party lines so there's no way to get things done. Our government, which we take pride in its financial lust, leading us to our destruction, and all they ask of us is our trust.
There's very little trust in these simple times. There's very little trust in these simple times. Very little trust in these simple times. There's very little trust in these simple times.
When these two things combine and our government's designed to benefit senators through cosigns from any lobbyists they can find, we laugh and we drink to forget our woes. We don't think, well, our future is flushed down the toilet before our eyes as we blink. And we don't take a moment to fight for what we know is right. Stop buying their products, their promises, their lies. It's a decent setup, you can't deny. The rich have the power, the poor live to die, and we live to provide for the powers that be. The chosen few who have the majority of the money. It's funny, you can't question while running. Any small piece of the pie we amass is what they are gunning for. We've evolved to a state where our greatest strength is to take from the animals less fortunate, and now our planet's at stake. But what does the government say? Scientists are making up the doom we face. All that Washington can do is steal money. The rest of us are left to our fate. I can't wait for the day we decide we've taken enough and just stand up for the human race and take the power back from those we don't trust.